Chapter 8, The Breaking of the Seals. Scripture basis is Revelation chapter 6 verses 1 and 2. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. The world did not return to normal after the resurrection of the witnesses. The air itself felt different, charged with an unseen power. Nature rebelled, the skies darkened, and the earth groaned like a wounded giant. From Chicago to Cairo, from Jerusalem to Tokyo, the same strange sounds filled the heavens, deep, rolling thunder that seemed to come from within the clouds themselves. Elias stood on the roof of the abandoned library, watching the storm gather again. The skyline of Chicago shimmered under flashes of lightning that did not follow any storm pattern. He knew this was not weather. This was the beginning of what Revelation had described, the opening of the seals. Behind him, Leah's Bible lay open on a table, its pages trembling in the wind that swept through the broken windows. The first seal brought conquest. A man appeared on every global broadcast, dressed in radiant white, wearing a crown. He was not Adrian Vale, yet Vale praised him as the new dawn of the age. This man rode through the nations not on a horse, but through media, through technology, through hearts that longed for unity. The world adored him. He spoke of peace, but his power was built on control. Leah's words came back to Elias like an echo. He comes not with war, but with words. The second seal brought war. Peace collapsed overnight. Nations that had once sworn loyalty to the World Council began to fracture. Riots erupted. Entire cities burned as resources vanished. The same armies that once promised protection now turned their weapons inward. Chicago fell into martial law. Checkpoints multiplied. The council's drones patrolled day and night, targeting anyone who refused the seal. Elias and the remnant hid in the underground tunnels of the old subway lines. The walls dripped with condensation, and the distant rattle of machinery filled the silence. A young woman whispered, "Is this the end?" Elias shook his head. Not the end. The warning. The third seal brought famine. Food shipments ceased. Crops withered under strange weather patterns, and digital rations were only granted to those registered under the seal. Elias led scavenging teams by night, moving through abandoned stores and warehouses. Each journey grew more dangerous. Soldiers now hunted anyone unregistered. One night, he and a small team found a truck of supplies guarded by drones. They prayed first, then acted fast. They loaded what they could, bread, canned food, water, and escaped into the sewers before sunrise. When they returned, the remnant gathered in prayer before touching the food. They thanked God for every crumb. Elias sat alone afterward, reading from Matthew chapter 24. His voice was low but steady. For nation shall rise against nation, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. He closed the Bible and whispered, "We're living it now." The fourth seal brought death. It did not come as a sword or a bullet, but as sickness, a pale wave sweeping silently across nations. Hospitals overflowed, then emptied. Streets were lined with silence. Vale appeared on every screen once more, urging calm, declaring that the seal would now include a new bio-infusion to protect humanity. Many rushed to receive it. Those who refused were blamed for the plague. The remnant buried their dead quietly beneath the tunnels. Leah's Bible became their map and their medicine. Elias read aloud at each burial, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." And somehow, Even in loss, peace began to grow among them, not from the world, but from within. The fifth seal brought persecution. Agents of the council stormed sanctuaries, seized Bibles, and burned what they called dangerous material. Public worship was outlawed. To pray aloud was to risk death. Yet the remnant did not stop. In secret rooms and forgotten churches, voices still rose in praise. The weaker the world became, the stronger their faith burned. Elias had once been a man of law. Now, he was a man of faith. He no longer led with weapons, but with the word. He began to write messages on small scraps of paper, verses of scripture, hope for those still hiding. Each message ended the same way: hold fast. The Lamb still reigns. The sixth seal came with terror. A great earthquake struck without warning. The sky itself seemed to split apart. Buildings crumbled, the ground cracked open, and the sun dimmed behind a blood-red haze. Elias and the remnant clung to the ground as thunder roared overhead. In the distance, Lake Michigan boiled under a storm of fire and wind. And through it all, Elias shouted above the chaos, "Remember his promise. He told us these things must come to pass." They wept and prayed, not for escape, but for endurance. When the trembling ceased, the skyline was forever changed. The world above had become unrecognizable. But among the survivors, whispers spread. Not of fear, of faith. The remnant lived. In the stillness after the storm, Elias opened Leah's Bible again. The pages fell open to Revelation chapter 7, where the seventh seal waited. He looked toward the heavens, the sky now veiled in crimson clouds. "The time is close," he said. "But so is his coming.